Hey guys, it's Bethany with Just Thrift It if you follow me on Instagram. I am making a video today to talk about my eBay spreadsheet and kind of how I track things for my personal records and also for my CPA come tax time. This has kind of been a requested video from a lot of you guys, so hopefully this will be beneficial. If you're watching my video for the very first time, I am a full-time reseller. This is about my 4th month doing this full-time. I quit my job end of last year at a financial firm to pursue selling on eBay full-time, and I just go to thrift stores and buy used clothes and resell them on eBay, and I so far am doing pretty good. I am not living on the streets yet, so I would say that things are going well. But yeah, let's go ahead and there's a few things I want to show you guys. It's going to be a little tricky because I'm filming this on a camera, so I can't obviously like share my computer screen with you guys, but I can kind of just hold the camera to the screen on things I want to show you, and I have some like documents that I want to show you on just what all I say for my CPA and how I track things. So hang on a second, let me pull this out here. So first thing is first, and that is my eBay spreadsheet. And I make this spreadsheet by myself. I don't use bookkeeping or any other applications or whatever to track this stuff. I hand do it all myself. And this is kind of just what works easiest for me. And before I really get into it, let me just clarify that I'm not an expert, I'm not a CPA, I'm not very good at all this stuff. It is just a very simple and easy spreadsheet that I have created to simply track my income, both my gross income, like from all my sales, so before all my expenses, and then also my net income. So this spreadsheet kind of shows all my expenses listed out, and it's super easy to read, so when I send it to my accountant, she can kind of look over it and understand this spreadsheet without me having to sit down and go through every section of what it's all showing. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory, which I like. It's very short and sweet. So the first thing, and I'll kind of, let me flip the camera so I can show you guys. The first thing I do here, so overview, you can see that there's a lot of different sections. The first thing is the income. So I have the date and the amount. And where I get this income is right here in good old eBay. You have a sales report that you can run. If you come up here to my eBay and go to selling, this is just if you have a store. So please beware. If you don't have a store, then I don't know how you find this. You can come up here to sales. And then in here they have the dates that you can pick. So I will come, my spreadsheet I'm showing you is from January, so I'm going to pull January 1 to January 1. And this shows me that I made $300.15. I will go through and edit this for each day in January. So there's going to be 31 pages. I print this page off for my CPA just to have a hard copy for my personal records as well. So I'll go through each date, I'll grab the amount I made, and I will input it into my income section. So as you can tell, you know, there's going to be 31 days, and I just have it very simply listed out, the date and the total amount that I made that day. Over here, I have my thrift store expenses. So this is everything that I have spent in thrift store purchases. You can tell the date, the location, and the amount that I spent. And where I get this is I actually pull my credit card statement. I have a business credit card statement that I print out, and I go through transaction by transaction on my credit card statement, and I input it into my spreadsheet. So I'll kind of show you here. I have printed out this is my credit card statement, and this is my business credit card again. So anything and everything on this is solely business related. It's nothing personal. Just, it's so good to keep things separate, and I highly recommend it. So basically I go through date by date. I pull the amounts that I have spent at thrift stores, where I spent them, and I input them into this section of the spreadsheet. On top of that, I also save all of my receipts, and I'll kind of show you here. January, I didn't have a ton of receipts, but they're stapled together. I have highlighted the total amount, so it's just easier to find when I go through, and the date. And I just keep these for my personal record just in case the IRS comes back and questions anything. I have documentation on where my money was spent, so receipts and my credit card statement. So that is my thrift store expenses. And at the bottom of each of these, I have like the sum, so the total amount, and at the end it will pre-fill my gross and net sales. And this is January. This was my first month doing it. I'm okay to show my numbers because I was very new at this. But moving on to, let's see what is next here. We have PayPal shipping expenses. So this is how much I have spent in shipping all of my packages on eBay or through PayPal. So real quick, when I have my income, I charge shipping on everything, and this income amount also includes the amount that I have charged shipping. So say, you know, my total income may have just been $200 here, but because I charged $100 total in shipping in like all my sales, that $100 is added to my income there. However, I then have to track how much I have spent shipping because that's been an expense. So what I do here, let me find my sheet here. I go to PayPal and I print off all of my outgoing transactions to eBay. So this is like 29 pages long, and they're all really little transactions. Like as you can see, if this focuses here, you know, $2.60, $2.60, like they're pretty much all under $5. So I go through day by day and I add up the total amount that I have spent every day in shipping. So this makes it really easy to track. It's so easy to find on PayPal. You can go to like your transaction summary and you can filter it. You can filter it to outgoing payments. You can filter it to incoming payments. You can filter refunds. You can basically filter anything you want. So I just filter my transactions going out to eBay. And I don't want to do all my transactions going out because I have transactions going to myself when I pay myself, or, you know, if I buy other expenses that I pay through on PayPal, I don't want them tracked in my shipping PayPal expenses. They'll be tracked elsewhere. So these are just my eBay shipping expenses that I've spent. So as you can see here, I go through every day, add them up, and I put the total amount that I spent shipping packages. So you can see some days were 0 because I wasn't shipping that day. I'm trying to see what my highest day was here. Oh, January 31st was $405. So you can see I spent a lot on shipping. My total amount spent in January on shipping was $2,887, which seems like so much, but it's part of the game. Okay, the next section on my spreadsheet is my miscellaneous expenses. So that's anything that will obviously be business related, but it's not under PayPal or my thrifting expenses. So for example, you know, all my Amazon stuff, because I buy my poly mailers on there. Let's see, you know, Walmart, I bought storage containers for inventory. I bought some decorations for my flat lays, just things like that. Just anything and everything miscellaneous that have to do with my business is categorized into this portion of my spreadsheet here. I just really like it separate than my PayPal and thrifting expenses, just so it's easy to kind of identify and categorize, and I can tell like what, you know, where all I'm spending my money. It's just really easy for me and simple to read. Miscellaneous fees. So these are always like my eBay fees, PayPal fees, and total refunds sent. So this I get from eBay directly. They have a sales report that breaks down all of my fees. And actually, let me see if I can pull it up here on my computer, because I feel like that might be helpful to you guys. So hang on one second. I'm in my Sellers Hub right now. And let's see, I think it is the Sales Report Plus. If you click on that, let's see where it takes us. Let me go to January. Oh shoot, I can't go back to January. Oh, you know what? I printed it off. So let me find it here. Sorry, not really prepared for this. Hang on. Oh, here we go. So I've printed this off. This is from January. Okay, so it will say net eBay fees, net PayPal fees, and it'll have January. So $972, $484 for eBay and PayPal fees. So I take these two numbers and I input it into my miscellaneous fees to track that there. And then I also track all the refunds that I sent via eBay. So when a buyer gets something and they don't like it and they want to send it back and I issue them a refund, that is that expense. And I will print off that on PayPal as well. You can filter it. You can see up here, I filtered it to do refunds from January 1 to January 31st. And I probably had about 20 refunds here. It totaled $138.91. I would love if I didn't have any refunds, but again, it's part of the business. And then moving over here to my last section, this is my mileage. And I erased my address because I don't want you guys to know where I live, obviously, but I have all of these that start and end at my current address, just for easy tracking purposes. So I will have my date, I will have where I went, and I have how many miles to and from my house, because all of these basically start from my house. If they don't start from my house, then they'll be listed, but almost every time I go thrifting or anything eBay related, they all start from the same place at my house, and it's just easy to track. And I make sure all of these dates and the places I went match up to all my thrift store expenses, because like on 110 I went to Goodwill, so I'm gonna need to make sure that 110 date is in the mileage to make sure, yep, there it is, everything is tracked correctly. And I honestly don't use any mileage apps or anything. I'm kind of old school and I write everything down. I don't necessarily write when I go to places that I'm gonna use a receipt for, because I know that I'll be able to figure it out based on my credit cards and receipts, like where I went. But say I went to the post office, you know, you're dropping things off, you don't get a receipt from it, so I won't have any, like I won't remember that I went there unless I write it down. So I write down all my post office runs and everything like that. So let's see how many miles I went in January. 649 miles. So this is great for my CPA because she can deduct mileage from all of my expenses, which in the end helps save me money. So I highly recommend you guys do that if you don't. So that is everything on my spreadsheet. I'll show you guys here. My income is added up. This is gross sales, was at about $10,000. All my thrift store expenses, I spent about $1,000. I mentioned earlier, excuse me, I spent about almost $3K on all my PayPal shipping. I have my miscellaneous fees and okay, so miscellaneous expenses and miscellaneous fees equals $1,800, and that is all auto filtered or auto summed and subtracted from my net income. And my net income for January was $4,329. So that is a summary of my eBay spreadsheet. Hopefully it helps. I keep things very short and sweet. At the bottom here you can tell that I have, you know, January, February, March, and then I have a summary page that will like add each month my gross sales and my net sales. Just I want a summary page when I send all of this to my CPA so that she can, let me flip the camera back so I can talk to you guys. I will send this spreadsheet with a summary page to my CPA so she can just easily in one page be able to see, okay, Bethany made this much gross, here's the total of all her expenses, and here's what she made net, just for her sake. And you know, she'll ask me questions too, and I'll be able to answer whatever she needs help with. The biggest thing is just truly making sure that you're tracking everything. I know a lot of people ask me, what should I be tracking? What shouldn't I be tracking? The answer is, I mean, technically you're supposed to be tracking anything, any amount that you make. You know, if you make $1 or $10,000, the right thing to do is to be tracking it. I can't answer all your questions with this stuff because, again, I am new to tracking all this stuff too. All I can say is that it works for me, and I've talked to my CPA to see what, you know, how I need to be doing this and to make sure I'm doing it the right way, and this is what, you know, works for both of us. The biggest thing that you guys can do that I recommend is just, you know, having hard copies, tracking everything. I have, you know, my proof of income. I have proof of all my eBay and PayPal fees, because if she questions anything, she doesn't, you know, I don't have to go back 10 months on eBay to find these things. I can say, hey, I already printed this out, so let me just scan and email this to you. You know, I have my credit card statement, I have all my shipping expenses, and I have my receipts. So these are the big things that I personally would recommend having hard copies of and saving. And then I also, every month, I print off my master eBay spreadsheet and I put it in this folder. So I have a folder for each month. This is January. It lists everything that's in this folder. And then I stick it in this really cool big folder. Every month has a spot. Like this is, you know, February stuff is in here. I haven't printed off March. And I'm very behind on April, so I haven't even started on April's spreadsheet, but I mean, who stays up to date on all this stuff? As long as I'm like not more than like 4 months behind, I feel like I'm successful at tracking this stuff. But yeah, that is everything. Again, short and sweet. I like this because I can come to it and I can easily identify where everything is, where my money went, where all my income was, how much I made, and stuff like that. So I also like to go through each month and kind of compare, like, hey, January you spent $1,000 thrifting, February you spent March. Okay, did my income make up for spending more? And just kind of analyzing that and learning like where I can cut back and where I can do better. And again, this is all a learning experience for me. I enjoy doing this, but this is obviously my least favorite part, but it's so important that you guys do this. And if you have any questions, I mean, I hope that you guys all have a CPA that you can call and talk to about this stuff, because they are the experts and they're going to be the ones to direct you in the right direction. And, you know, I can answer some stuff, but I can't answer everything. I can just say, hey, this is what works for me.